let's jump in. So for those of you that just joined, I am Patrick, and really looking forward to tonight's info session, Cybersecurity 101 info session. And I am on the admissions team here at Flatiron School. So for anyone who applies, you'll most likely be working with me or someone on my awesome team to work through the admissions process. And that'll be one of the topics that we go over tonight as well. There I am. Yeah, so looking forward to this. And as questions come up, if you think about it, in the Q&A part of your Zoom, throw any questions into the Q&A section. When we're, well, not when we're done, but when I'm wrapped up with the presentation, I'm going to go over to the Q&A section and just go through all of your questions before we wrap up, okay? So use the Q&A section for that. Awesome. So let's jump in. To get started, I always like to give a little background. Now, some of you may have signed up for this webinar looking for information on SecureSet's program, and that is specifically for folks in the state of Colorado, okay? The rest of you, everywhere other than Colorado, I'm sure came to us through Flatiron School. But a little background there of what that's all about. Flatiron School and SecureSet, we partnered back in 2019 to help address the worldwide cybersecurity skills gap. We are better together. We're able to provide access to immersive cybersecurity education for students all over the world, as well as the career coaching people need to succeed in the cybersecurity industry. We are sister schools, but operate as one team. I will get into some of the more specifics of the programs a little later on, but just so you know, that's a heads up there with that. Agenda. So this is the stuff we're going to cover tonight. We're going to talk about the concept of why cybersecurity. We will talk about the advantage of attending Flatiron School. And again, that'll be a combination of Flatiron School's cybersecurity engineering program and specifically for folks in Colorado, SecureSet's Academy, which is called the Core Cybersecurity Engineering Program. We are going to talk about career services, the admissions process, and then, like I said, at the end, before we wrap up, we will do a Q&A and drop all your questions into the Q&A feature in the Zoom. Awesome. So let us jump in and talk about the cybersecurity industry. This is a powerful quote. Cybersecurity is the single most important industry that has developed in this nation since the Industrial Revolution. Yeah, this is a quote from Bill Crowell, who was an early SecureSet advisor who helped us create the curriculum and is actually a former director of operations at the NSA and a current venture capitalist. But I couldn't agree more with that statement, as everyone probably sees constantly in the news. Cybersecurity is just becoming more and more of a priority for individuals, governments, all kinds of industries, you name it. Cybersecurity is now a top priority. But what is cybersecurity? So cybersecurity is the protection of computer systems from the theft of or damage to their hardware, software, or electronic data. In short, protecting networks and systems from cyber attacks so people can operate safely. So again, this is touching upon governments, industries, and also the individual. Everyone needs to protect their data, which is predominantly now stored online, hence the need for cybersecurity. Now, to further emphasize the scope of cybersecurity, these numbers are pretty staggering, but the annual cost due to cybercrime is currently at $6 trillion. And as you see here, it's projected to go up to $10.5 trillion by 2025. It's really hard to fathom, I think, numbers like that. But it really just goes to show how much cybercrime is occurring and how much we really need to invest in skilled folks who can, defend against that crime. We'll talk a lot about the industry tonight, but cybersecurity job openings globally are currently around 1.5 million. And in the US alone, it's at an estimated $500,000, 500,000 jobs needed to be filled. And that's just right now. So the need is growing. Unemployment is at 0%. So if there is a job opening, it will remain open until someone can fill it. So we really need to help fill this gap and help folks get skilled up to join this exciting industry. There is so much opportunity, and that is where we come in. So again, who needs cybersecurity? Here's a list that encompasses everything. So, banking and finance, right? It's a big one. That comes to mind right away. Money, huge target. Healthcare, that's going to house a lot of personal data that can be super valuable, right? Government, security data, IT, telecommunications, manufacturing, with manufacturing, supply chains are vulnerable. Education, energy, the cyber attack on the Colonial Pipeline, for instance, retail, media, and entertainment. A few years ago, HBO was hacked, and the episodes from the final season of Game of Thrones was leaked before they aired. So just an example there of how it touches upon so many different concepts in our lives. Every industry is affected by this. Now, every day you can probably have something new, but this is some recent, right now, 2021 cyber attacks. So the Iowa Farmers Co-op ransomware attack. This is a ransomware group, Black Matter. They took out a farmers cooperative online network, demanding $5.9 million in ransom and threatening to leak stolen data. This could disrupt the grain, pork, and chicken supply chain. This is a recent current events cyber attack. Another example, Apple devices security flaw. So a zero-click exploit was discovered that compromised iPhones, iPads, and Macs, opening them up to remote data theft and eavesdropping. It's believed Israel's NSO group, a hacker for hire firm, was behind that attack. So again, real life examples of this stuff happening, but there are so many different ways a cyber attack can occur. So just to know how important it is to understand the intentions behind the attack so you can anticipate and defend against them. And we're gonna dive deeper into that as well. So you may have heard different terms in regards to cybersecurity: red team, blue team, purple team, white hat. There are so many different common terms in cybersecurity, and I want to break down some of those so we can kind of better understand what they're all about. So obviously here on this slide, we're looking at red team members. They are on the offense. They're the attackers. They are attempting to break the blue team's defenses. Basically on the red team, they're going to use real world cyber attack techniques to exploit weaknesses in a company's people, processes, and technologies. So what's important about a red team is that they are trying to find the holes and vulnerabilities in the system. The good guy red team are commonly known as penetration testers. And they are really, yeah.
Just real quick, we can't see the slides.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I was sharing my screen and everything. Hold on one sec. Thank you, Jelani. So most of the stuff I read off was pretty straightforward, but now you'll actually see the slide. Thanks for that. Apologize. And let me just present mode. There we are. So red team hackers, okay? And that's the purpose of the red team. A lot of folks want to work on the red team offense and try to break systems and help secure them better. Really cool part of the industry to be in, okay? Next up would be the blue team defenders. These are the defenders. So this is where people tend a lot of times to start in the industry. As you get more experience, you can transition to a red team role, but blue team is an awesome place. Blue team members, they work to keep the system safe through monitoring and analysis. You regularly analyze systems to identify the vulnerabilities and evaluate the effectiveness of security tools and practices. Skills such as network monitoring, data analysis, risk assessments, threat detection. Needing to use all of these skills really to help protect and defend an information environment from a threat actor. That's the blue team. Next up, purple team. So the purple team essentially fosters the communication and collaboration between red and blue teams. They typically consist of red and blue team members who share resources, reporting, and knowledge to improve an organization's security. So if you hear these terms that I brought up, a red team, a blue team, a purple team, hopefully you can get a better idea of the understanding of what those terms mean, right? Awesome. So, cyber skills gap. So I mentioned this briefly before, but there are so many jobs available in the industry and not enough people available to fill them. Again, as I mentioned earlier, close to 500,000 openings in the US alone. And there are so many different types of job titles. So I definitely recommend, if you get a chance, hop on Google and search cybersecurity jobs in my area. But these right here on the screen are some of the typical job titles in general. You see cybersecurity analyst, cybersecurity consultant, cybersecurity manager / admin, systems engineer, networks engineer, architect. Now, so cyberseek.org, by the way, is a great website resource in which you can see like heat maps where you can toggle over your region and see some common availability in your region, for instance. But cyber jobs in general are really everywhere at this point in time of where we're at. But some major hubs in the US, for instance, definitely the DC area, right? Big government, there's gonna be big cyber. But Texas, Florida, in Colorado, specifically Colorado Springs and Denver are real hotspots. And then of course, the markets that are always huge, like New York and California. But again, every state will have openings in cyber. There are also a lot of remote work options out there as well. Great. Now, common question that we get in admissions interviews is, can I get into the industry without a tech background? The answer to that is absolutely. The thing that's important in this field that a lot of folks don't think about is that it really does require also a lot of soft skills on top of the technical skills. So as you see here, if you don't have a technical background, there are less technical roles like cybersecurity analyst. That would be a great way to break into the field. These roles require transferable skills you may have developed elsewhere, including research, analysis, problem solving, critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and project management. You really need to understand like the business and the psychology behind it. A lot of folks, also as an example, that have like social science backgrounds are sought after, as those skills are quite applicable. But companies need people that understand not only the technical side of things, but also the business side and can, communicate effectively with both the technical people and the non-technical people. We're going to teach you that in the program, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but it's super important to have the soft skills. So if you have the soft skills now, and you need to learn the technical side, that is totally okay and exactly what we're here for, okay? Now, moving on. Let's talk a little bit more about the details of our program and really what makes us different. So the Flatiron School Advantage. So we were founded, Flatiron School, in 2012. Flatiron School is an alternative education model that provides students with 21st century skills necessary to succeed in tech. We have campuses. We operate campuses in Austin, Chicago, Denver, Houston, New York, San Francisco, Seattle, and DC. SecureSet, as I mentioned earlier, specifically in Colorado, operates in Denver and Colorado Springs. And by the way, that is specifically for cybersecurity. I say that because we do have other programs. So right there, we also offer career-changing courses in software engineering, data science, and product design, along with the cybersecurity, okay? And the campus and online learning options. So in case somebody's on this call that's looking at one of the other programs and you're in Colorado, you're Flatiron School. The concept of SecureSet is specific to Colorado and specific to cybersecurity, all right? Graduates, our proven job search framework has helped thousands of Flatiron School grads land fulfilling jobs in tech. A great place to find our grads, by the way, is LinkedIn, all right? You can search Flatiron School on LinkedIn and see where a lot of folks are in their careers over the years. Awesome. Now, a little bit more specific, obviously last year our worlds got turned upside down with COVID-19. It's still happening, right? The campus experience. So we're excited to share that we have started reopening select campuses, and our classes are currently being taught online. But the in-person experience on campus is more of a community aspect right now. We have a 3-phase approach to opening up campuses. The first phase involves like community events. And also enrolled students can utilize campuses as a workstation. It's still to be determined when we're fully open with live in-person classes and all of that. But for the moment, it's been a slow, gradual open, and we have started. Now, keep in mind, another thing that's super important is that city by city could be different. So as you see that link there that you can find on our website, flatironschool.com/campus-experience, you can also, if you happen to be, in one of the cities where we have a campus location, you can specifically see the details going on with your specific city, okay? So that's where we're at with that. Let's talk about curriculum, what you learn here. So there's theory, and then there's putting that theory into practice. Those are kind of the two worlds we exist in. Let's go over here now and look at the curriculum. So as you see, as the industry shifts, so does what we teach. Really what that means is that we iterate on our program, on industry feedback, as well as student feedback. A lot of time, your traditional like college, university type education tend to have a lot of times a relatively stagnant curriculum, typically. And iteration is not as constant as they are in like the boot camp model of education, where iteration is crucial as you are learning up-to-date industry skills. Not speaking for all colleges and universities, but for the most part, iteration is not as frequent in that world, but crucial for the boot camp world. And as you see here, to ensure our curriculum remains relevant as cybersecurity itself evolves, we meet semi-annually with industry partners on our curriculum advisory board. We then work backwards, directly mapping what we teach to the skills employers are looking for now, which is really key. Iteration is a constant concept. And again, industry feedback as well as student feedback. Super important. Let's do program overview. Okay, we'll talk about Flatiron School's program first, but real quick to note is that, again, just in case someone's hopping on a little late, Flatiron School program is offered globally, as SecureSet is offered specifically in Colorado. Okay, great. So, Flatiron School. Program overview. Flatiron School, Cybersecurity Engineering. That's the course we're talking about today. It exists in two different delivery formats, live and flex. Live is going to be your all-in, full-time boot camp style education. It's the fastest to graduate at 15 weeks. It is full-time, Monday through Friday, live lecture, solo and group projects. Okay. Flex is the same curriculum, same certificate of completion, same career services. It's a different delivery method for folks that might have a lot going on in their life, right? They have to maintain a job. They can't take a leave of absence or have kids at home that they're raising, or whatever the scenario might be in someone's life that doesn't allow them to go all in. You will do the same course flex. And here you're going to learn at your own pace. We have 3 different pacing strategic approaches that you can take. There's a 20-week approach, a 40-week, and a 60-week. So you really find, which of those pockets best fits you. And here the lectures are recorded, so you watch them on your own time, and you have independent work. You are not left to your own devices here, though. You would still have a lead instructor that guides you through the program. You're regularly connected to them. You have dedicated, extensive one-on-ones with them. They host open office hours, etc. But this is a way to maintain what's going on in your life and still change your career and embark on this life-changing education for the most part. So who takes this course? Good candidates for this course, the definition here can vary, but someone who's detail-oriented, creative problem-solving skills, those are key. You should have a natural interest in programming or computers in general, but networks, passion and determination to excel, and a strong work ethic, right? And again, as I said earlier, if the soft skills are there, but the technical skills aren't, that's okay. You can pick those up. And you can actually, by the way, start picking them up now. I'll talk about it in a little bit, but we have our free intro courses. There's so many places all over the internet where you can start dabbling, start getting your feet wet and learning the fundamentals. You're here looking at Flatiron School, you might as well give our free tutorials a shot, right? This is some of the stuff you're going to learn in the program. Network security, system security. On the coding end of things, we're going to teach you Python. GRC, which is governance, risk, and compliance. That's more the non-technical end of stuff. Logs and detection, cybersecurity threat intelligence, application security and pen testing or penetration testing, cryptography, and everything, regardless of which delivery method you take for the program, results at the end with a capstone project, a final project that also, by the way, regularly acts as a portfolio project to show prospective employers when you're in the job hunt. All right, now that is a very broad overview of what you learn. I highly recommend everybody on our website download our syllabus for sure. The syllabus is where you're going to get a lot more in-depth, intricate information on the program, and you can find that right on the website. Quick to note, tuition for Flatiron School's program is $16,900. Okay, and in the admissions process, when I show some of that a little later, it'll dig a little bit deeper there. But tuition is $16,900. At the bottom there, it shows some example job titles. Again, we had a couple earlier, but security engineer, security analyst, security consultant. You can keep probably adding commas there, but those are some hot topics there. Okay. Now, next up, SecureSet. Now keep in mind on that right-hand side, everything is the same because this is ultimately SecureSet, the course under SecureSet in the state of Colorado. Now SecureSet is strictly a live program. So again, Colorado Springs, Denver are the locations You're going to be doing this full-time, Monday through Friday. It's spread out over 20 weeks. Now, remember, this is the same program we just discussed, with some logistical details. The reason for the 20 weeks compared to the 15 is because with Flatiron School, we fully cover everything, but the strategic approach to the curriculum merges some of the courses. And also with SecureSet, they're including concepts of career services into that 20 weeks, where with Flatiron School, you have the exact same career services that starts getting introduced towards the end, but also upon graduation is when career services is really launching out. Okay, so don't get too confused by the 15 to 20 difference there. It's the same as you see on the right, same curriculum. Who takes the course? Same concept, right? Now, ultimately, again, same curriculum, but some key factors, again, for Colorado residents for cybersecurity is that SecureSet's program accepts the GI Bill and veterans benefits. So for those folks that are seeking assistance in that world and you're a Colorado resident, this could be an awesome fit. And tuition for SecureSet is $20,000. Flatiron School, $16,900. Colorado residents doing SecureSet, $20,000. Okay. So that is Flatiron School versus SecureSet. Let's talk about some alumni success stories. I think it's always good to have like specific people and kind of see where they're at post-graduation. Here we have Jonathan. Before the course, Jonathan actually worked in restaurants. Jonathan did cybersecurity at Flatiron School and is now a SOC analyst at Security Risk Advisors. Really cool, intense journey there from restaurant server to SOC analyst. Then we have Anna. Anna was a teacher, did the cybersecurity program for Flatiron School. Now works forensic technology, an associate position. And again, interesting trajectory from teacher to associate forensic technology, cybersecurity role, total career change. Awesome. Now, job placements, alumni success stories. In August, Flatiron School and SecureSet grads landed cybersecurity roles here. All right, this is recent data. So drone technician at Amazon, security analyst at Graylog, solution delivery analyst, a senior compliance specialist, a threat researcher at Binary Defense, and a SOC phishing analyst at Expel. These are just some that stick out though. Awesome. Let's talk about exactly what career services is though. How did those folks get helped post-graduation, landing their new role? All right, so this is kind of the journey of career services, the career services journey. Career coaching is going to be huge. You're going to be paired up with one of Flatiron School's career coaches on the career services team. They are a dedicated coach. You have one-on-one weekly meetings, career prep coaching. That is going to be added with the career prep in general. We have a careers curriculum. You're going to be doing stuff like building a technical resume, which is, reshaping your resume as well as how you present yourself on LinkedIn, professional development, the concept of just building on your networking skills and concepts like that as well. All of this is going to also just tie into networking with companies. So we have an employer partnerships team that builds relationships with companies. Great. But we're also going to encourage you and talk to you about how you can build your own network as well. So you kind of, live in both worlds there. Learn how to effectively get in front of employers of interest and uncover the hidden job market. All this leads to careers students love, like the last two examples. That is the career services journey though, okay? And that can tie into working for an amazing company. And you see a bunch right here. These are actually companies where Flatiron School grads have been hired. There's more than this, but these are some heavy hitters. I'm sure everyone on here will recognize, I'm sure, a handful of these companies. Tesla's on there, Blizzard, which is a gaming company, Cognizant, Spectrum. So yeah, but not just these companies, right? Our alum have been hired across the board. There are more beyond this page, but it really runs the whole spectrum from exciting startups to big companies like you see here, exciting mid-sized companies, government work, non-for-profit. So you're going to cast a wide net out there and really build your strategy upon what your job hunt looks like. Certifications. This is very unique to the cybersecurity industry in general. Now, upon graduating from Flatiron School's cybersecurity program, you're going to have a certificate of completion stating that you graduated, right? Externally, outside of school, you're going to be on a journey moving into your career, right? And that's a world where you're going to get certifications a lot. Sometimes the certifications can be hyper-specific to the route you take. If someone's leaning more towards cyber engineering, maybe someone's leaning more towards cyber analytics. Typically, out of the gate, graduates are getting the CompTIA Security Plus after this course right away. That's a very common one. But certificates in general, this is a way, or is the way that you're going to prove theoretical knowledge of cybersecurity. In our program, you're going to get the hands-on education, and then as you enter the job world, the certifications solidify that as you climb the ladder, keep progressing in your career, right? Starting salaries. Now, starting salaries vary for myriad of reasons, like regionality, meaning the cost of living in the city you live in is going to affect starting salary. Obviously, in an expensive city like Los Angeles, where I am, compared to Anchorage, Alaska, right? Or San Francisco compared to Fargo, North Dakota. So regionality has a big factor in there that can make that number vary. But then also the type of company, that scrappy startup compared to working at Google or government work, non-for-profit. That's going to have a factor as well. And then, of course, your own personal background, right? For some folks, let's say, as an example, you were working on Wall Street for 10 years, and now you want to go into the tech world and do cybersecurity. Let's say you go into financial tech, fintech. Part of the narrative that you create in your job search, a big part of that this fictional person I'm mentioning right now is that they spent 10 years in finance, right? That could come into play. What I mean by all of this is that there are so many factors to come into play with that number. Here on this page, though, these are some starting salaries that pay quite well out of the gate. The industry has so much potential for growth. You might start out making 75K, but with time, be making six figures, right? But again, there's a lot of variables that come into play with the concept of starting salary. Admissions process. So we've talked about a lot of the industry, some of the ins and outs of it, the stuff you learn here. How do you go about and start this journey, though? And that ties into me and my team on the admissions team. So let's talk about the admissions process. All right, so your application, right? That's going to be just the first step. What you should know, you're ready for a career change. You're ready to commit the time, full-time or at your own pace, right? You're ready to embark on a life-changing journey, ultimately. What you don't have to know, right now, you don't have to know how to code, how to hack, how to design, or how to work with data science. I'm mentioning, the different disciplines there. You don't have to exactly know how you'll pay for the course right away. We can walk through that together, right? And the concept of not having to know how to code, hack, design, or data science right out of the gate, you can start now, though. And that is really going to be the key to this, our free intro courses. I like to call them try experiences. Now, these are the ones specific to cybersecurity. So work through them. They're free cybersecurity lessons. There's one on cryptography, one on phishing, virtualization technology, and IoT security. This will give your application a leg up and get you started. So again, you're that total beginner, you can start now, right? And that's kind of a great strategy, by the way. Awesome. So this is a nice timeline, basically showing the progress through the admissions. You're going to submit your application. And by the way, I would, with that at the same time, start the free intro courses, right? Start working through those free intro courses, building up that snowball effect, and get your application in. Your application submitted, we look at it, we review it. We're going to then schedule your admissions interview. You're going to go through the interview process. After that, you're going to complete the admissions assessment, which ultimately is an aptitude critical thinking skills test. There's really no prep for it other than just give yourself 15 minutes of like uninterrupted focus and work through that. After that, you'll get your admissions decision. Assuming all went well, you're accepted. Awesome. You're going to enroll. Enrollment starts with a deposit, which goes towards the tuition amount, which is a $500 deposit. And that kind of starts the enrollment process off and gets everything going. You're going to choose your financing option. And there is course pre-work that you would complete before day one. So keep in mind, the pre-work is really key also to any beginners out there. Right now, where we're at during this webinar, you might be a beginner, but come day one, you have worked through some free intro courses, right? Started to build the foundation. You enrolled. Now you have a dedicated pre-work track that you're going to work through. Then you start. So in essence, you might still technically be a beginner on day one, but you have totally started this progression of building a foundation first. And then, as you see there, day one, get started on your course, whether you're in the live program or the flex program. That is the admissions process. Whoops. Let's do questions. Ready? So let me jump over to the Q&A box and see what you have for me. All right. Oh, someone asked earlier on, it looks, can we see the red team slide again? Definitely. We're going to be sending you the recording of this webinar, and you'll have the recording to look at all the slides. Okay. Awesome. Oh. Okay, here we go. What kind of cybersecurity roles can a non-citizen permanent resident find? Well, that's a good distinction right there. A non-citizen, but you're a permanent resident. There's a lot of work. If you're a permanent resident, you're going to put in the hard work with the career services team, build out your branding with your resume, your LinkedIn, work on the skills, mock interview, and then hit the ground targeting companies, casting a wide net out there. As a permanent resident, permanent resident, green card holder, perhaps a DACA recipient or whatnot, there's a ton of work out there for you. All right, so what do we have here? Here we go. What is the role of a cybersecurity engineer versus a cybersecurity analyst? Great question, love it. So engineers, cybersecurity engineers are familiar with programming and grasping different languages like Python, C, C++, PHP. They have an understanding of multiple networks. The main responsibilities are making the system not vulnerable to threats. Analysts, their role isn't to want to be hands-on with, let's say, like the fixing the issue, but they want to analyze previous, current, proactive activity. The analysts are going to monitor the networks. They're going to research potential anomalies. They're going to validate the threats. I think that's a good way of putting it. And then the engineers, they're really going to develop and implement the solutions to eliminate or minimize the network and the system vulnerabilities. Okay. Here we go. Oh, so you don't teach the certifications or prep us for those. Oh, I see what you're saying. We need to pay for those out of pocket. Correct. Certifications, industry certifications, like for instance, CompTIA Security Plus, That is external. You're not going to sit for certifications with Flatiron School. You are getting the training of a comprehensive cybersecurity education. So there's lots of certifications that you can be ready for out of the gate. Most folks are ready to sit for Security Plus out of the gate. Some other more specific ones, depending on where you go in your career path, maybe some prep for, but ultimately, yeah, certifications are an external concept. All right. Can I use VA benefits for Flatiron School if I do not live in Colorado? If no, why? Great question. The quick answer to that is no, but I'll give a little bit more context there. SecureSet, our sister company, they had existed for quite a while, and they had programs that were very specific, or have a program that's very specific to catering towards veterans in the state of Colorado. That's already pre-approved. We are working towards having all of our programs accept veterans benefits, post 9/11 GI Bill, vet tech, things like that. Currently, no, though. Hopefully in the future, if that is something that is like a deal breaker for someone, I would definitely stay hyper connected to Flatiron School for any updates. Unfortunately, I do not have any ETA on that. But again, the short answer is no, but hopefully eventually. Okay, where are we on my question list here? Here I am. There we go. What kind of financial assistance is provided? Great question. So tuition for the program starts with that deposit, right? The $500 deposit. And then there are 3 ways a student can pay for tuition. Option 1, pay up front. Option 2, there's a 1-year interest-free plan where a student can divide the balance of tuition by 12 and pay monthly over 1 year with no interest. Option 3, you're going to have a few options here. This is financing the program. We have 2 consumer loan partners that we work with. We work with Ascent and we work with Climb. They are both super awesome to work with. So I always tell folks, look at both to see which one, obviously is a more intricate fit for you. But this would be, on a base level, a pretty standard loan. You have interest and principal. You're going to pay the principal off over 36 months or 3 years. And within them, they have a few options of payback. Obviously, someone can, start paying their loan right away, but they have some interest-only concepts in the beginning. There are some deferral concepts, so definitely look at Ascent and Climb for the various options they have. On the website, when you go to the course page, obviously for cybersecurity engineering, on the left-hand side, you're going to see different tabs that take you to different important areas. You'll see a tab that says tuition. Click on that. It'll take you to the financing options. Now, that's how you pay for it, which can give you some assistance there, right? A loan can, or the loan or the interest-free plan can obviously spread out the payments. We also have partial scholarships that students can apply to, by the way. This is something that you'll chat about if it's something that you want to look into in your admissions interview. Okay, and partial scholarships are a great way, obviously, on top of the financing options to also reduce tuition a little bit. Great. Where are we here? Okay, what cybersecurity roles are likely to be working fully remotely? Interesting question. Now, we kind of live in a new world ever since last spring, right? When COVID-19 hit and everything got turned upside down. Everything went remote for a little bit. Some stuff is starting to open up again, right? Before that, tech was probably one of the industries that has the most remote availability in it. It still was a concept that it's not 100% widespread across the board, though, right? A lot of companies, sometimes you earn your stripes after being there for a bit to work a flex schedule or a remote role, right? But with that being said, there's always remote work out there. I always suggest to folks, excuse me, obviously cast a wide net out there to see what's available, but it's always good to have certain targets as well. You might be someone who's your target is remote work. Still cast that wide net out there to see all the availability while also seeking out remote work. Now, to tie into that, over the last year and a half, with the world changing so much, you've probably read about it. There's a lot of companies that, well, there's a lot more remote work now, and there's also a lot of companies that are just realizing that they can go fully remote. So again, it really depends. Make it one of your targets, but cast a wide net out there to see everything available to you. Okay. How are we doing on time? Good. Just want to make sure we're respecting everyone's time. And if we don't get to all your questions, don't worry about it. We will get to your questions. What I meant by that is if we don't get to them within this hour, okay? Because it looks like it's a good question night, which is awesome. All right. And anyway, that gives you a better reason to connect with us also. Okay, where were we? Oh, I think this is what they're saying here is, could I defend in-depth control implementation possible to protect and prevent such cyber attack and cybersecurity threats? Ultimately, I think I might not just be reading this right. What someone's asking about here is, I believe, are we learning the skills to prevent cyber attacks, cybersecurity threats? In depth. Oh, hold on. Questions are popping in while I'm trying to read it. There we go. Yeah, ultimately, you are learning the skill set, the full comprehensive skill set of cybersecurity in general. The program is called cybersecurity engineering, but there's a crossover between the skill sets of the analyst and the engineer, and you're really learning the fundamentals of all that are preparing you to enter this industry on an entry level and start your career. Okay. All right. Is there a VA discount for Flatiron School? Great question. If you are a vet looking to do Flatiron School, talk about partial scholarships in your interview. Okay. We have great scholarships, like, for instance, the Access Scholarship, where there's a couple of different eligibility requirements. One of them is veterans or active duty military. Okay. So definitely talk about partial scholarship with your admissions rep in the admissions interview. If you don't apply yet, keep in mind, I encourage everyone to apply. Going through the admissions process doesn't lock you into anything, and ultimately is going to give you the best sense as to whether or not we're a good fit for you. Okay. But if you're not ready to submit your application, that's totally cool. You can also schedule like a 10-minute chat with one of us. Shoot us an email. We'll be more than happy to talk to you about it. Okay. But yeah, partial scholarship. Okay. Is tuition different for an international student? It's not. It's going to be in US dollars, the same amount. They put it into parentheses Canadian. So you're doing Flatiron School's Flex program, let's say, or live program. Tuition is $16,900 US dollars with the $500 US dollar deposit. Same concept, but it's always in US dollars. Same as if you were in the UK or another country. Keep in mind, if you are in an international country, definitely contact us as well to make sure that we're eligible to teach you in that specific country. Canada, thumbs up. All right. All right. Oh, and I think this was tying into the VA question. I meant a VA discount for tuition. Again, talk about partial scholarship. I wouldn't call it a discount. I would call it a partial scholarship, but that's going to be relevant to your situation there. All right. Excellent. Which framework would you recommend to implement zero trust strategy? I wouldn't want to jump into that answer just because I don't want to give you the wrong answer. Tell you what, bootcamp style education. One thing that's really important for this approach, a big difference between traditional college education and, say, bootcamp style education is so much that we are taught in the college setting, traditional college setting, is extraneous stuff that does not apply to the job afterwards, whether it's the slew of elective classes we have to take or just stuff that is not applicable to the future career in general. Bootcamp education is unique, is that it boils it down to the necessary stuff you need to do the job, right? And one of those aspects is you're going to be in a world of tech that constantly changes all the time, right? Technology, we're in a world where a year from now, our devices are antiquated, right? So being scrappy and being adaptable is key. So it sounds silly, but I would take that question, which framework is best to implement zero trust strategy, and throw it into a Google search and start doing some scrappy research there. Yeah, where are we on time? All right, still looking good. The reason I'm saying that is we're at the 5-minute marker, but I do want to save a couple of minutes to just give you some next steps and stuff like that, okay? All righty. Oh, and I think some people have been throwing some questions into the chat. So let me, hold on a second here. Yes, they have. So let me go over to, I think I exhausted everything in the QA channel, right? I think so, yeah. Let me go over to the chat, see what we missed over here. Okay. I am not sure if you answered, is this school accredited? Flatiron School is fully licensed to operate everywhere that we are capable of teaching. Accreditation, that is not a thing. Hopefully we get there eventually. Some context there is that the boot camp industry, for lack of a better word, or this style of education, historically speaking, is still a relatively young industry. So we're catching up to those concepts of full accreditation. And again, that's where really you're going to start looking at things like FOSFA and GI Bill and things like that, right? So hopefully sooner than later, but no. The quick answer to that is no. But fully licensed to operate everywhere we're capable of teaching. Great question, though. Some of these kind of intricate questions are really good, just outside of the general stuff. What time would classes start for the flexible plan? Great question. That is actually up to you, because in the Flex program, you still have lectures, but they're pre-recorded. The Flex program is an autonomous program, so you have the flexibility to build that around your life, whether you're taking a 20-week approach, a 40-week approach, or a 60-week approach. You're not left to your own devices. As I mentioned earlier, you still have a lead instructor that's going to guide you through the program. In the Flex program, by the way, you have 20 dedicated extensive one-on-ones with your lead instructor, but you're also connected to them constantly on Slack. They're going to host open office hours and concepts like that. But the concept of like being at class at 2 p.m. or something like that, that's not a thing, because this is a Flex autonomous program. You still have your lectures. They're pre-recorded. You're going to build it around your schedule, around your life. Okay, I'm scrolling through the chat. There's a lot of location stuff here, so I just want to make sure I know where I'm at. Oh, and where are we at time? We're at 2 minutes. Let me do one more, even though I probably should be doing the next step stuff right now. Okay, where are we? I thought I just had one. Where are you? Oh, someone says, so you don't teach certifications. That's an interesting question, though, because you are learning the skills that are leading you towards certifications, right? We're not training you for a specific certification to sit for. I bring up Security Plus because that's a common one that folks are, like I said, are kind of ready to take out of the gate. Folks would usually sit for that with either ready or very little preparation for that. But in the curriculum, it's not like you're focusing on this certification during this module. You're focusing on learning the core skill set of cybersecurity in general, engineering and analytical end of things, okay? But the hyper focus on specific certifications is gonna be your journey post-graduation. Okay, I'm down to the 1 minute marker. At this point, I really should jump into our next steps just to respect folks' time. So let me go back to my amazing slide deck here. All right. And I think I got to most of them, to be honest with you, but if any questions didn't get answered, they will. All right. And how will they get answered? So, oh, actually, before that, what's next? This is a month with a lot of cool cyber webinars and events. Tonight was like an info session where I kind of paint a broad stroke, right? There's some specific stuff coming up that's really cool. Next week, we have the Intro to Malware Analysis, as you see right there on October 14th. On October 19th, Cybersecurity for Beginners, setting up a virtual lab. Awesome for any of the beginners out there. And a lot of talk about certifications tonight, right? Definitely RSVP for October 20th, Intro to Cybersecurity Certifications. And that link right there to find the events, flatironschool.com/events. If you're on our website, flatironschool.com, it's its own tab up top. You'll see events. Just click on that. Okay. So a lot of cool stuff happening, a lot of programming happening just within the next week. Now, those questions that didn't get answered, schedule a chat with us. So I mentioned I really encourage you to submit your application, right? Because then you can even schedule your interview and just go over everything. If you're not ready yet, like I said, that is totally cool. You can schedule a chat with my team. So that link right there, and again, we're going to be sending you this slide deck and all the information. You'll have it, but it's go.onesub.com/Flatiron admissions. Right there, you can schedule a 10-minute chat with myself or someone from my team. And most of the time, that 10-minute chat can be a 10 to 15-minute chat, right? But usually we can cover a lot of ground in that time, just one-on-one. Apply, flatironschool.com/start, submit the application. And again, if you are in Denver, Colorado Springs, or Colorado in general, you want to apply to SecureSet. And all those links are right there, and we will get those over to you. I had an absolute blast tonight. I know we covered so much in a little time frame, and I actually went 1 minute over. So my apologies if anybody had to run to dinner or their favorite show is on, or to start working on the free courses. But anyway, thanks so much for joining me tonight. I love doing the webinars. Get your application in or schedule a call with us, or both, and start working on the free intro courses. But thanks so much for taking an hour out of your night to be with myself and to be with Flatiron School. Hope everyone has a great night. Bye-bye.